Ok, ok. Olá, meus pombos. Boa noite para vocês, boa tarde ou bom dia, dependendo da hora que vocês estão ouvindo esse podcast, essa conversa. Estamos conversando mais um episódio do nosso podcast Papo de Pombo. E hoje nós temos a nossa primeira convidada internacional, que é a atriz Alejandra Reynoso, que interpreta a personagem Flora em Winx e a personagem Sypha em Castlevania. A conversa vai ser feita em inglês, porque ela não sabe português. E eu também não sei inglês, mas a gente tenta, né? E é isso. Então, eu acredito que aqui no YouTube tem a opção de legenda. Posso tentar fazer uma mais para frente, mas não posso garantir por conta de tempo. Então, é isso. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
So, Alejandra, again, thank you so much for your time, for being here with us today to talk with us. Thank you so much. I'm a big fan of you.
Thank you.
So, you do voice acting, and how and when and why you started to do this?
So I grew up in Los Angeles, and obviously the entertainment industry is here. It's a big part of growing up in LA and growing up near Hollywood. And so as a kid, I did commercials on TV. And I was with an agency that I did that with, and they had a voiceover department and they were looking for younger voices. And so my commercial agent basically recommended me to the voiceover department and said, hey, I have this kid and I think she'd be great for voiceover, and maybe give her a try. And so they sent me some auditions, and I didn't know what I was doing. My first audition with the agency was for G.I. Joe Renegades, which was an animated series out here, and
I knew.
that. Yeah, and ended up booking it, and went in to record the episode, and I thought it was a callback. I didn't know I had actually booked it. So I walked in and I was in the booth with Kevin Michael Richardson, who is a legend in the voiceover community. And that was my introduction into voiceover and being in a professional booth and studio for the first time. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And the voiceover department just basically decided to keep me on because they thought, okay, well, she booked this, so we'll see what else we can do. And just decided to go with it, and eventually ended up booking Winx Club for Nickelodeon. And that was like my voiceover grad school. You know, I got to work with very talented actors and see voice actors who had been doing this for years and decades, and being in a professional studio environment with producers and directors and just learning on your feet. So that's kind of how I got into it. And, Winx Club lasted a few years, and that was my voiceover schooling, as it were.
Oh, right. So Winx Club was your first job in voice acting?
G.I. Joe was my first job.
G.I. Joe. All right.
In voice acting, yes.
All right.
Yes. And then Winx Club came shortly thereafter.
All right. So, next the Winx Club, you do Castlevania, right?
Yeah, that was the next big thing. I did a few commercials and things here and there, because you diversify when you're working as a voice actor, and
Yes.
you go where the work is. I did take a break from voiceover for a few years in between Winx Club and Castlevania. It was around the time I was going to college, and I decided to finish out what I was doing with Winx Club, and then take a couple years gap, finish out school. And then when it was coming up to graduation time and people were deciding what they were going to do after school, that's when I really had to start thinking about whether or not I was going to come back to Los Angeles and pursue acting full time. So it was about 3 months out from graduating university. And I got the audition for Castlevania. It came in. I had emailed my agents and said, hey, I'm going to be back in LA pretty soon. I would love to start auditioning for things again and see how that goes. And Castlevania was one of the things that was sent my way. And didn't know anything about the games, unfortunately, at the time.
I will ask you that if you need the games. I play it. It's very good.
Before I started.
Very good.
I know people love them, and I have tried it a little bit since. Now I have, but at the time I didn't know what it was. I don't think I've mentioned this anywhere, but I'm totally going to embarrass myself. And I think called it Castlevania at first, not Castlevania, but I read the title of the audition script.
I'm saying wrong all the time too. I'm saying I already saw in Portuguese is Castlevania.
Castlevania?
In Portuguese.
Okay. Well, see, there you go. Yeah. And I mean, in Japanese, what is it? Akumajo no Densetsu Castlevania, right? So they're all different, but I didn't know what it was.
They love, how do I say that? Long names.
Yes. Absolutely. So that came through. I auditioned for it, and it was a few weeks before graduation. I got an email saying, "Hey, they want to offer you the role of Sypha. It's 2 episodes with potential for more if they pick it up."
The best character. The best character. She's perfect. Simple as that.
She's absolutely the most fun to play. I've had a blast, and the team was very, very generous in giving me an opportunity to help build her with them and find that character. So that was a wonderful experience. But yeah, so I decided, I told them yes, I would love the job. Decided to move back to LA. At the time, I also had a job offer in the Bay Area, so I was trying to decide: am I gonna stay in the Bay Area and take a normal 9-to-5 job and kind of start that career, or am I going to go back to Los Angeles and try to be an actor? And so I decided to do that, come back to LA, and that's kind of when I started up again in 2016. That's when I came back to LA and really started doing it full time as an adult.
Right. Well, I think it was a right call, a right choose.
I'm glad you agree.
I think your voice. I love your voice, and your voice is a match with Sypha's character. And I don't know. I think that obviously I don't heard her in other voice, but I think yours was perfect.
Thank you. Is there do you know if there's a Portuguese dub of the show yet?
Yes.
There is. Okay.
There is. Yes. I don't know. I don't watch it dubbed, but yes.
Okay.
It has.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if they would be as good as you.
Yes, I think your voice is better.
I think it's also whatever you hear first, people get very attached to.
Yes.
I do. I think there's just so much skill that goes into dubbing for the people that dub, because I had to do that for the first 4 seasons of Winx Club because it was in Italian. So for the first 4 seasons,
know that.
Yeah, it's an Italian show. The first 4 seasons we dubbed into English, and then and the movies, and then seasons 5 and 6, those were new seasons that Nickelodeon was writing and producing with the Italian company in concert. So 5 and 6 we did in English first, and then those got dubbed back into Italian, which is funny that it first went from Italian to English and then we flipped it and went back the other way. But absolutely, I admire so much the people that dub. Like, I have a lot of friends that dub anime, Japanese shows into English, and it's amazing. I would love to do it at some point if I have the opportunity.
I hope you do. I will watch it.
Thank you. I hope so too. But I do think that you definitely get attached to whatever voice you hear first, because then it's hard to separate that from the character. That's who the character is in your mind. And so, I obviously had so much fun being able to make a lot of the decisions for the kind of character Sypha was going to be. The same way that someone else made a lot of decisions about Flora before I was even involved. And then, you go with that, and you have to be creative within that framework. You know, the lip flap already exists, and it was drawn for a different language. And so now you have to work within a set of rules to make it make sense. And so I really admire when people can take that and still make it emotional and interesting and make it make sense when it wasn't supposed to even be in that language initially. So I do really appreciate that. I've seen someone uploaded a compilation of the scene where Sypha gets kind of frustrated and just starts cursing.
I love this scene.
Oh yeah.
So someone
I saw
in
the
language.
video that you uploaded in your YouTube channel.
Yes.
If you dubbed that scene.
Yeah.
So
behind the
hilarious.
scene, right?
Yes.
Yes. That video was a total accident that it even exists, because we didn't do much behind the scenes material or any filming. But for the most part, they kind of wrote that scene in because our writer, Warren Ellis, wanted to hear me cursing, basically. They thought it would be hilarious. I think a lot of people agree. And we did,
So
a pass of that scene, and our director, Meredith Lane, and our producer, Kevin Colby, they thought it was really funny, and they liked it, and they're like, I think we got it. And then they said, you know what, let's do a safety pass. Let's do a second pass for safety just to make sure we have it. Okay, so we go and we do it again. And I'm, doing the thing, and we get to the end, and I look up, and our executive producer, Kevin Colby, is standing on the other side of the glass in the studio with his phone up like this. And then he just lowers it slowly and kind of laughs and walks back to his seat. So yeah, he had me do it again just so he could film it.
I think we can hear the last at the end.
Yes.
That's our director, Meredith Lane. Yeah. And you can kind of see her ghostly face reflected in the window.
Yes. You're good.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Rachel, some question?
No, I would just say regarding this scene, it was amazing because it was the first time that I could see your work in action, and you are so expressive, and I found that really, really amazing. I was also talking to Wilder about that. Like, well, she's better than the character in itself.
It's funny, we don't get to see ourselves. If we see our work, we're seeing a cartoon character, an animated character. So I actually didn't realize that I moved that much when I'm working. I had all of this.
Cool.
And you learn, obviously, because you're working on a mic, you can't get off access because then it's quiet, right? And you don't want to hit the mic. Like a little while ago, I bumped the iPad down here and I made noise. But you learn to work around this space because you can't mess up a take making noise or going off access or whatever it is. And so even when you are expressive, you learn to do it around this space. So yeah, it's like your head is here the whole time and then your arms are everywhere, and I didn't know I did that.
So that was the first time you were watching yourself performing?
Yeah, on the mic, absolutely.
Fantastic.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think that the gesticulations in the process of voice acting was interesting too, because the movement of the body change your voice. I think, I don't know. Yes. So to do the voice acting more precisely, I think that is necessary some kind of movement and work to learn to work with that. Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, you're an actor, right? And even though you're working through the medium of your voice, so much about what you do lives in your body. So you still need that. If you're holding yourself and you're trying not to move, you can feel that in the way that you're acting. That can be used for other things, like if your character is trying to hold in a lot of energy, right? But you learn to move and express yourself again without messing up a take or whacking your mic or doing any of those things. But absolutely, when you're doing action sequences, I throw my hands. And like when you're working on video games, you get hit a lot, and all of those things, like there are ways to do that to mimic taking impact without like fully like hitting yourself in the face. So yes, you do still move, you just learn how to move in relation to the mic.
All right. So interesting job, no? These
Yes.
dubbed characters. I never talked to a voice acting before, even here in Brazil. So this is too great. And do you have will or aspiration to do some live action someday, or don't? Or you prefer voice acting?
I absolutely love voice acting, but I love acting in general. I love stories and I love storytelling, and kind of whatever form that takes, I am open to. I actually worked on a project last year on Twitch, and it was a live action project. It was live streaming. We did it through the pandemic, so all of the actors were quarantined at home, and we were all filming on our own. But we were all connected through this stream. So, it was a full show, and we had, a team of editors and producers and our director and our showrunner, and, everyone running the show, but all of the actors were in their own homes streaming live on Twitch. And it was a wild experience. The audience got to affect how the story ran. We had to learn multiple versions of scenes and of the story because the audience could vote on what was going to happen in real time. And so we'd be coming back from a commercial break, and we'd hear, in our earbuds, the director saying, okay, we're going to go with, version 2 of the scene or version 1 of the scene when we come back, because the poll voted, either version. And we'd come back on and perform that. So that was a wild experience, but I would love to do more on camera work. Oh, I just dropped my phone. Absolutely.
This is artificial.
Environment.
This was artificial. The name.
Yes.
I heard about it, but I don't watch it. I will look later. If it's possible for me to watch, is recorded on Twitch on some other place.
I believe they have, all the videos recorded and archived. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look for it later. I read about it. I entered in your IMDb page to do all of your work, and artificial may caught my attention. Enfim. So, Rachel?
Yeah, again, to that particular scene, were you listening to the other person? Was it recorded already, or you were somehow interacting with the other person that was performing the other character?
I performed with Richard Armitage, who voices Trevor. He was live. We were playing off of one another.
He's so great. I love them. I watch many moves with them. With him.
Yes. But he was in the UK while we were working, or Berlin. He was in a few different places at different times. But we were never, at least for season 4, we were never in the same room. But we were acting off of each other in real time. So in that clip, when you hear his voice, that's what I'm hearing in my headphones. And when you're hearing me, that's what he's hearing in London. So it's kind of like a Zoom call almost, but we don't have video. It's just audio. So say we were on this call, but we didn't have video. So, I would conduct the whole thing just hearing you guys, and you can hear me. But we are in real time. So it's the process called ISDN.
That's so great. And the chemistry between Sypha and Trevor is awesome. Is a lovely couple.
That's also why they tried to, as much as possible, to always have us recording together. So the only time we were in person was during season 2. The second half of season 2, the library sequence, they were able to get James Callis, who voices Alucard, Richard Armitage, who voices Trevor, and myself in a booth together. And so we did record the end of season 2 in person in the same booth. They had the 3 microphones next to each other, and we got to do that together. And then from then on, it was all remote. So all of my scenes I did with Richard. We did those together, and we just recorded remotely. So yeah, every session I did, Richard was there.
So great, so great. The series was awesome. I think that Castlevania deserves, I don't know, 20 seasons, but we can get everyone we want, right?
But there is something to being able to end a series well and end it on
right.
terms and have a planned ending, as opposed to, it fizzling out or suddenly being canceled and you have to haphazardly put together an ending.
With no end. Because I'm dreaming about a series that will tell every games of Castlevania. So, and it's a lot. I think it's 7 or 8 games, and I really don't know. But I play one that called Symphony of the Night. I think is the most famous. That has passed 300 years before the series, so has a lot of history between them.
I mean, there's definitely potential there for more stories to be told. I think these characters in particular, their stories have been told, but Netflix has said that they want to do more stuff in that Castlevania universe. So, fingers crossed. I think people have a lot of great stuff to look forward to. I'm definitely going to miss these characters. I'm going to miss playing Sypha. I'm going to miss being able to play in this world, but I'm glad that they got, the ending they deserved.
Yes. So another question: how was the reception of you in the character with the fans of Castlevania in comic cons?
It was good. I haven't been to that many. I did Soda City Comic Con in South Carolina, and then we did our big event at New York Comic Con in 2019. But other than that, I haven't done really that many in-person conventions. And then everything shut down due to COVID. So I went to my first ones at the end of 2019. Yeah. But it was great. The people I met were absolutely wonderful and lovely, and they enjoy the show and they enjoy the character. And I've honestly, the fan community around Castlevania has been so supportive of Sypha and this character and my work on the show, and so it's been a really wonderful experience. And I know that's not always the case for everyone, so I'm so grateful for all of the positivity around the character and people's reception of my portrayal of her. So yeah, I very much appreciate that.
I hope you come to the Brazilian Comic Con someday. The people here are crazy.
I would love to.
The people here are very crazy.
Things open up.
Yes. Yeah, next year maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
I hope.
For any of your Brazilian listeners that would, like me to come out to a con, request me with your local convention. That's usually the way it works. The conventions will reach out to us, and that's usually because fans will request us. So, if anyone wants to see me out there, let your local con know, and they can get in touch.
Let's do the hashtag.
Let's do that.
Bring Alejandra Reynoso. So good. Rachel, more questions?
How long does it usually take for you to record a scene? Or, of course, it will depend on the complexity of the scene, but
yeah, it depends. Sessions last 4 hours. You can do 4 hours at a time in a recording session, and we can usually knock out quite a few episodes in that 4-hour period because you don't have the full cast in there at once. Whenever I was in, it was just Richard and me, and we would go through our scenes, and you'd get as far as you got in 4 hours, and usually we kind of got to everything we needed to. So especially by the 4th season, you know the characters, and how they feel about things and how they sound and what they would say. Same thing for your director and your producer. Everyone really knows these characters, and so you're just kind of going through it and making sure everything lines up. Our director is making sure that everything makes sense when we have scenes with other characters, because all the stuff we did with Zamfir or Saint Germain or any of the other characters, we didn't actually get to play off of those actors, so our director would just read in those lines.
Interesting.
So yeah, but honestly, it works. It runs pretty smoothly.
Right. How was you about time? When time you have left? You say that it was a little time.
I was gonna say I didn't quite catch the question.
Okay.
Are we running out of time already?
Oh, got it.
You're worried about your time, yeah.
Yeah, I can do another 10 minutes.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So next works that you are working to, you can reveal some of them or none of them.
The way of things nowadays is that everything has an NDA. If you are familiar with NDAs, they're non-disclosure agreements. So as actors, we're not allowed to talk about pretty much anything. And I feel like nowadays everything has an NDA. Even when we audition for things, especially video games, everything comes to us under a code name as well. So most of the time, if not 100% of the time, we don't even know what property or project we are booked to work on until later. So yeah, I can say that there are some things coming up in the next couple of years that I'm very excited about. So a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward to and things that I'm looking forward to be able to talk about. But as of right now, I don't think there's anything I can actually talk about. I did just do some work on Dota 2, which is out. So that's a fair game to talk about because it's out. So I voiced Dawnbreaker, which is Dota 2's newest hero that they released last month. But yeah, usually I can't talk about things until they're already out.
All right. I'm sad. No, just kidding.
Just be curious.
I'm waiting to be able to tell everyone, but as of right now, we like not being sued.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting. For
Don't worry.
a safe time to talk about it.
Yes, it'll all be on Twitter or Instagram whenever it's out. I'll definitely share that stuff there. It's funny, in terms of being able to talk about things. I did some work on Red Dead Redemption 2 a few years ago.
Great game.
Yeah, and I like telling this story because I'm not kidding when I say that sometimes we really don't know, because I had no idea I did work on Red Dead 2. I didn't know. I found out because my father was very hurt, and he came to find me and said, Ale, I didn't know you did work on Red Dead 2. Why didn't you tell me? And I said, I didn't do any work on Red Dead 2. And he goes, no, yeah, this guy at work just said that, my daughter was on Red Dead 2. And I was like, I didn't do any work on Red Dead 2. And he goes, no, look, he showed me your IMDb. And he pulls up my IMDb. It says, right here. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, that's what that was. I had no idea.
Oh my God.
That's good.
That's crazy. And funny. And so funny.
Yeah. They just tell us the code name that it's under. And then we go in and do the work. And for a lot of video games, they don't give us the script ahead of time. So we haven't seen any script when we walk into work. And then, once we're in the booth, they have the script on a screen that they control, and they'll just change the cues. Okay, next line. Excellent.
Oh my God. So it's basically in real time. You have to do your best. Wow.
Yep.
Oh my God. They have to do This with Tom Holland, né? The king of spoilers. No, I'm just kidding. Tom Holland, the Spider-Man, he's the king of spoilers.
Yes, but I heard that later on they did start like keeping security in a room with him while he looked at the script, and then they would take it away.
Yes.
Yes. So I guess Marvel's definitely jumping on that bandwagon, but video games have been doing that for a while.
No, I don't know that. Interesting.
Yes. Animation usually is not like that. So definitely with Castlevania, they always gave me, my full scripts ahead of time. And usually for animated series, you get your scripts, and most of the time you know what it is. Marvel, if they have anything animated, will probably put it under a code name. But it's mostly video games that keep really strong NDAs.
Wow.
Right. Interesting. Rachel?
Do you have any message for the people that are starting now voice acting? A message for inspiration?
Inspire them, please.
Yeah.
Inspire them. I'm going to give you a short version, and then if you guys want more, I have some old podcast episodes on my podcast, Rolling Wild with Alejandra Reynoso, and I go into more detail about that. So that's on iTunes and Spotify.
I will attach the link to the description in this video of your podcast.
Great, yeah. So I actually started recording that and releasing that because I get these kinds of questions a lot. I'll get people reaching out to me on social media, asking about, how did you get started? How do I get started? And a lot of that stuff. And you get asked so many times that sometimes it's easier just to be like, well, I have the full long answer here that you can reference. But the short version of it is that there is no one way to do it. Everyone gets into this industry differently. Everyone's career shakes out differently. It's really hard to give you just like this is the answer and this is how you do it, which I guess can be both encouraging and discouraging. But I guess the encouragement there is that if you're not doing exactly what someone else is doing, that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not going to work. That's just what worked for that person. You really can forge your own path here. And I know it's difficult. Getting started and getting your foot in the door is difficult. And even when things get easier, they don't get, easy. But the biggest takeaway there is that, even if your journey doesn't look like someone else's, that doesn't mean it's not going to work. So the biggest thing is to just make sure that if this is something you want, it's something you love, something that you're willing to put the time and effort into. And sometimes that just starts with experimenting, even if it's just taking an acting class for fun to see if this is really something that you love and that is going to bring you fulfillment, so that on the, days that it's really hard, it's still worth it. Because it's one thing to see something and enjoy media and enjoy stories, and it's another thing to try and work in the industry. So definitely I would say first things first, take an acting class and see if that's something that really resonates with you and that you get fulfillment out of. And if it does and you love it, then you take the next steps and you keep going and you try and make your way.
Right. One last thing, a little last thing. Can you do one or two phrases interpreting Sypha? Playing Sypha?
Sure. I have
what Sypha will say to your fans?
Yeah.
Oh dear. What would Sypha say to the fans? I was like, I thought we were doing a line. Goodness, I have so much I want to say. I'm trying to think of what I want to say specifically to the Brazilian fans as well.
As in general.
In general, okay.
Yeah.
thank you so much for watching Castlevania. It has been such a pleasure and honor to have you along on our journey. Trevor, I know he's a little bit annoying, but he has enjoyed it so much as well, and he is so grateful, and we as a pair cannot be more happy and more thrilled that this story came to such a happy ending.
Thank you so much.
Great,
Thank you
great.
so much. That was lovely. That was lovely. So, Alejandra, I know you don't have more time, so thank you again for spend a little time here with us here in our podcast. I hope sometime in the future we can chat again. We can talk again. I don't know if possible. So, and again, I'm very happy for this time, in this little time with you. As I said, I'm a big fan. I love your work. I love your voice.
Thank you.
And I'll be waiting for your next jobs.
Thank you.
I'll follow you on
Brazil.
Instagram and I will know everything from there.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
E para você que nos assistiu que não assistiu esse momento, assistiu essa pequena conversa aqui com a Alejandra Reynoso, essa atriz maravilhosa que fez Castlevania, entre outros papéis. Gostou da conversa? Deixa seu like, clica aí no botãozinho de like, aquele joinha pombado que ajuda o trampo aqui, se inscreva no canal. Se puder dar uma ajuda no meu financiamento coletivo do meu próximo livro, o link também estará na descrição, o podcast da Alejandra estará na descrição. E é isso daí, galera. Semana que vem tem mais.